It's time to make some delicious coffee with Venus. This Bialetti Moka pot is made of stainless steel, apart from the handle, which is made in plastic, so we don't burn ourselves. The one I have in this video is the 2 cups, and it actually is the only one from all the Venus family that is not compatible with induction hob. From the 4 cups and above, they are. So be aware, if you are getting the Venus 2 cups, you need an adapter to make it work on induction. The advantage of having a stainless steel moka pot like Venus is that the cleaning and the maintenance are easier compared to the aluminum moka pots. The moka pot can be washed in the dishwasher and also resist oxidation, and this thanks to the stainless steel used to make this moka pot. That is the 1810. The basket fits around 12 grams of coffee and the boiler 90 grams of water. The filter is the classic Bialetti and the gasket is made of silicone, which I really like. Remember to grind the coffee fine for moka pot, which is a bit coarser than espresso grinds, and that's because otherwise it's going to be too fine. This can create problems during brewing and can lead to unpleasant bitter taste in the cup. Now, to place the ground coffee in the basket is a bit tricky because the basket is a bit narrow, even if it has a nice depth. So to place it correctly, you can follow this method. Start with placing half the dose in the basket. Then distribute the ground by tapping on the side of the basket. If you use a WDD tool, you can use it as well in this first step. Then give a little tap on the counter and continue placing the grounds. When the coffee is above the rim of the basket, use the handle of the spoon to spread evenly the grinds. When you cannot spread coffee anymore and you still have a little mountain, tap the basket on the counter and you see the level of the coffee dropping due to the vertical distribution. Now you can continue spreading the coffee with the handle of the spoon. If the level is very low, add more coffee and repeat. It's important not to tap too much or too aggressively on the counter, otherwise the coffee will be too packed and then will create too much resistance to the water when it's coming up. Good practice is to weigh the coffee before placing it in the basket so you know how much coffee you should fit. Once you finish placing the ground coffee in the basket, it should look like this, well distributed. Do not press or thump the coffee in the basket because that will make it worse. After that, place the water in the boiler. As I said before, it can fit a maximum of 90 grams of water. Now, for this brew, I place the whole 90 grams in the boiler. But if you're brewing dark roast coffee, I suggest placing less water, around 70-80 grams of water at room temperature, and that's for a better result. Then place the basket with the coffee in the boiler and close the moka pot. If you usually place an AeroPress filter to increase the filtration of the fine particles, you need to know that with this 2 cups moka pot, the diameter of the filter is narrower compared to the paper filter, so if you want to use it, you need to cut it. On the stove, always use the smaller diffuser at low heat. The coffee should come out around 1 minute 35, 1 minute 50. That depends on the coffee you're brewing and also the grind size you are using. But in general, around 1 minute and 40 seconds is where I found the best result for an espresso roasted coffee. You should get a steady flow from the beginning until the end of brewing. Once it's bubbling, turn off the stove, the coffee is ready. With 12 grams of coffee and 90 grams of water, you should get around 60-62 grams of coffee beverage in the cup. And that's, for me, it's enough for one dose. If you drink less coffee and in company, of course, you can split the brew. But remember to stir the coffee in the pot before splitting into 2 cups to make sure that the taste of the coffee in both of the cups is the same. To share a bit of data with you, I place a sample of the coffee in a refractometer to check the total dissolved solids, and it's around 4.42%, making a 23% extraction, which for moka pot for me is ideal. The coffee tasted good and surprisingly cleaner than I expected, even when I'm using the classic Bialetti filter. In fact, you can see that there are not so many coffee particles in the cup. If you want to use the EMB Lab filter with this Moka pot, I have a good news and also a bad one. The good news is that you can fit the filter in the Moka pot and it works properly, even though you need to use the Bialetti gasket because the gasket from EMB Lab is too wide for the diameter of the Moka pot. The bad news is that after you place it, it's a pain to take it out. I have struggled so much. That is very annoying when you go to clean the Moka pot. I always suggest removing filter and gasket for a proper Moka pot cleaning, but this problem will make a nightmare of experience. Overall, I really like the Bialetti Venus. It is well built and so far makes good coffee. Now I believe you want to know, Matteo, is it better the aluminium Moka Express or the stainless steel Venus? Well, you will discover that very soon. Thank you very much for watching. As always, feel free to leave a comment below if you have any questions or if you want to share with me your experience with the Bialetti Venus if you have it and you're using it. I will see you in my next videos, and in the meantime I wish you a wonderful day and delicious coffee. Ciao!